Good morning, everyone, and welcome to KETIV's Autodesk Virtual Academy. This is Nigel from KETIV Technologies. Today I'm joined by Jose Paredes and then Mike Razzo from the KETIV team. And today we're going to, as usual, Thursday morning, going over some AVA topics. I'm just letting you guys know if you do have any questions at any point during the webcast to go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar panel that's on your screen. We'll make sure to address those questions either during the webcast, if applicable, or during the end in our dedicated Q&A session. Also, I'd like to mention that we do have a survey that hits you. Well, it doesn't necessarily hit you, but it goes to your screen when you exit the webinar. So if you have to leave at any point in time, you'll receive it as well, or during the end. Please fill out that survey. We definitely take all of those ratings and suggestions into consideration for future topics. A lot of these topics that we've done kind of come from suggested ones from the viewers. So if you do want to see something in particular, please make it known, and we'll see what we can do in regards to making it a reality. So with that, Jose, what's our topic today, and why did we choose it?
All right, so like Nigel said, I'm Jose Paredes. I'm one of the application engineers here at KETIV, part of the Lifeline team. And our topic today is actually the top 5 KETIV support solutions. And we chose this because we feel that we should let our customers know some of the most visited problems that we actually solve here at KETIV. And with that said, in order to have a top 5 solutions, you're going to need a top 5 issues that you're going to run into. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into that right now and give you a list of what we have. Like you see here, we have the KETIV Lifeline frequent flyers, and those all are downloading your software, obtaining what you need in order to install your software. And then once you have that, you may run into some installation errors. We'll go over a couple of those that may happen and how to get through them in order to be able to activate your software and start using it. Now, once you get to that step, you may have some issues whether you are on a maintenance plan, which is a perpetual license, a subscription, or if you're using a multi-user license. We'll address the top issues and solutions that we have with those 3 types. And then we run into unexpected performance, whether it is hardware related or software related, and how to address that. And then we run into the Vault integration portion, which we believe is something that most of our customers should use and will add to their workflow. So with that said, we move into the first issue, and that's obtaining your Autodesk products. A lot of the calls that we get from customers is in regards of how to obtain their software, and the most common answer that we give them is through their account portal. Now, the account portal is a website provided by Autodesk where contract managers or software coordinators can access their software, serial numbers, and product keys for anything that was purchased by their company or a certain user. Now, once we gain access to this, either by becoming a contract manager or software coordinator, you can go ahead and download your software from this website. And that brings us to our next bullet point, which is actually the browser download. The browser download is a type of download option, a download option when downloading your software. As you can see here, an example that we have is AutoCAD. If we're trying to download AutoCAD from our account portal, we can go ahead and click the download link, and it'll bring us to the small window which you can see on your screen right now, where you can choose your version, your platform, and your language, which are pretty standard nowadays. And then it'll give you the option to download now or expand this menu to get more options as to how to download. Browser download, you can see, shows up here. It does give you a warning that it is the slowest, but here at KETIV we believe it is one of the most stable ways to download your software, as it downloads it all onto your computer before it starts the installation, avoiding any issues with the disconnecting of the internet or your computer shutting down unexpectedly due to updates and corrupting your installation and having to start it over. So once you have that software downloaded through browser download or any other way, you run into some activation issues. Now, in order to avoid most of these, what we recommend to our customers is actually to disable their antivirus. And there are two reasons to this. One of the first one being with the antivirus scanning all the files as they come in to install, it actually slows down your installation. In some cases, it could be a very minor slowdown, but in some cases, we've seen it extend that time quite significantly. So that's one of the more not. It is an issue, but it is also something we can prevent before we go ahead and install. Now, one of the most common issues that we actually see with installation of software 2016 release or prior is the .NET Framework 4.6 error. And this happens when a computer has .NET Framework 4.6 installed, which is pretty common with the newer computers, and software saying that it needs 4.5 installed. Now, the truth is that 4.5 is actually included with 4.6, but the software doesn't know that. So what we actually have to do is trick it into thinking that it has 4.5, and we would actually do this by going into the registry editor and changing the registry key for .NET Framework to 4.5, installing your software, and then changing it back to 4.6. This will allow us to install your software properly, have it up and running, and then by changing it back, we'll have everything else that was using 4.6 before run properly as well, and have you be running smoothly again. So after installation, you got past your speed bumps, or hopefully you did it went smoothly for you. You run into some issues whether you are on a maintenance plan, a subscription, or even a multi-user license. So the first one would be a perpetual license or a maintenance plan, and that's that would have to do with the license transfer utility. And now the license transfer utility is used in order to free up a seat on your license, which would help you avoid the error of Autodesk thinking that you're activating your software more than you're allowed to. So by doing this, you can actually run the license transfer utility on your computer that you want to get rid of the license of. You'll select the product. Each product usually has their own license transfer utility, and you can make sure that you're running the proper one. It'll have your software here, the serial number that was used to install it, just in case you have multiple serial numbers of the same software. And then go ahead and hit sign in. Once you hit sign in, it'll have you log in with your Autodesk account and bring you to this page here. Once again, repeating the software that you're releasing the license for and the serial number that was used. It explains what exporting the license will do. It deactivates it on your computer, which means you will no longer have a valid license on it. So once it's exported, it becomes a free license, not floating is the wrong word, but a free license that you can use to activate it on another computer. So now we went over the maintenance plan. Now we go over subscriptions. And one of the calls that we get usually is it's not letting me activate my software. It's asking me to log in as a different user. So the problem with that is it's either there are no named users assigned to that serial number, or the wrong named user is assigned. Now this may be the case because with the purchase of a software, it's automatically assigned to the contract manager. And in most cases, if it is just one seat, that means if it is assigned to the contract manager, the power user for that software is not assigned to it. And when they try to activate it, the user logs in with their Autodesk account, and it's not seeing that it's assigned to him. So the solution to that is actually going into the account portal, and as the contract manager or the software coordinator, and assigning users using their names and their emails to your account, which means they'll be associated with your company, and then editing their access, as you can see here. Now, once you hit the Edit Access button, you will actually see a list of software that you have available to you and who you can assign it to. Like I mentioned before, if it is just one seat, you'll want to go ahead and take away that access from the contract manager if they're not the user, and then assign it again to the proper user. With that said, the last one we can look into for activation is actually um, when a server is changed either by name or the license file is moved to a new server. The user's computer will always look for their license on the original server. Now, if it's looking on the original server and there's no license available, you'll have to point it in the right direction, as you saw earlier. And we can do this by searching for a file called licpath.lic, and that's spelled licpath.lic. You can search for it on your C drive, on your local drive, which is where the software is installed. And as you can see here, I have a lot of software that's networked or multi-user. You can usually tell by the product key and the year of release what you want to change. I actually have my licpath file here. It's actually installed on my local computer, which is the server name here. And if you did switch to a new server, you would have the old server name here, delete that, and replace it with the new name. Once you do that, you save the file and open up the software again. It should start looking at the right server. Another way you can do this actually is to delete that licpath.lic file, and when you open the software again, it'll ask you what the server name is that you want to look for the license on. So now, once you have your software, downloaded and installed and activated, you notice that your performance isn't to what you thought it would be. And in most cases, we find out that it's because there was a service pack that was released and the software isn't acting how it's supposed to. That brings us actually to the desktop application, which should give you access to any updates that are released. One of the common issues we see is that desktop application is actually installed, but if it was never opened before, it's stuck on the home page that you have to go through in order for it to look through for some updates. Another issue that was actually brought up to us by a customer before the webcast was the desktop application not loading properly, and that's an example of something at KETIV that on the Lifeline team that we've run into that's not very common, and that we do research but eventually do get back to the customer. So thank you for bringing that up, and we'll be working on that on our end. So, but if you do know, your software is up to date, everything, all the service packs are installed. Another issue that could be happening, if you notice any lag between your clicks or a tool not opening as fast as you would think, it could be related to a graphics driver. Now, usually with graphics drivers, we actually ask the IT department of the customer's company to look and make sure that the drivers are up to date on the computer. We can sometimes go in and just double check to make sure that they are. And in some cases in most cases actually, it'll fix your performance problems and help you get back up to speed. So now that it is working how you want it to, you want to make sure that you have your software working for you instead of you working for it. And this brings us to an AVA that we actually did in the past, and that's CUI migration and getting your customizations moved over from a previous release over to your new one, making sure that it's working the way you're used to have your workflow a lot faster. And falling into the category also is the classic workspace. And this talks about a workspace that was available in AutoCAD 2014 and prior with the toolbars. A lot of our customers don't like the ribbon that was introduced, and we actually have a blog post that was written by Rich Sanchez here, which explains how to get your software to look as close as you can to that old workspace, getting your toolbars back where they were, and having them in a place that you feel would help your workflow and get you up and running a lot faster. A lot of these links will actually be provided at the end of the webcast in case you do want to take a look at them and go over any of these steps. With that, we actually go into our live demonstration, and today we're going to talk about that last bullet point, which is Vault integration. Being able to work with Vault in Inventor is something we believe will speed up the workflow of a lot of our customers, but they run into some snags which deter them from actually using it. As we can see here, I have my Inventor. You have, as you can see, my Vault tab is actually loaded here. It has the ability for me to log in, log out, and most of our customers sometimes will see their Inventor like this, which means there is no Vault tab loaded. They don't know if it's actually there. They have Vault Client installed, but they don't know why it's not working. And that's, as you can see, it's because it might not be loaded on your Inventor. The fix for that would be to go into your Tools tab, click on Add-ins, and then under Inventor Vault, have it load and load automatically, which means from now on when you open your Inventor, it will automatically have your Vault tab loaded. So like I said before, it shows up. I have the ability to log out, which because I'm already logged in, but you notice I don't have any open functionality or any Vault options. Basically everything else is grayed out. This is also an issue that we see a lot with our customers, and there are many causes to this issue, but one of the main ones that we can see here is the project that I'm currently in is actually a single user, which means it's not looking for Vault at all. And the solution to sometimes it may be set up as a Vault project, but through modifying the settings or changing some of the folder paths, you can it will actually change your project back to a single user. So as we can see, if I change it over to my Vault project, the type changes to Vault. Go ahead and click Done. And if we go back to the Vault ribbon, I have functionality back. I can open up a file. I can open up Vault options and just navigate through my libraries, make sure that I have the files that I need, opening them up, check them out, and work on them. Save them, check them back in, and just go ahead and keep track of those files a lot easier. So those are the two main issues that we run into with the Vault tab and how to resolve them. There may be other issues that you run into, and that's actually what the Lifeline team is here for. And with that said, actually, I'm going to pass it over to Mike Razzo here to talk more about it.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. So, Jose covered a lot of issues and kind of best practices overview in the last 15-20 minutes. And, one of the things that we want to cover is a couple of service options that KETIV offers to kind of get you guys covered and keep you guys keep you guys in the safe zone. And one of the options, or the first option that I want to cover, is the KETIV Lifeline Support. So KETIV Lifeline Support is probably one of our most popular service options. Not only does KETIV help you with your software subscriptions and help you manage your licenses, but we also have this option where we can provide one-on-one support over the phone as well as through remote desktop. And so some of the items that we cover with these options that I'm going to review now is it allows us to really become an extension of your team. And so by that I mean help you out with troubleshooting, help you out with managing your applications, and on top of that we can also assist with projects. And so we have customers call in where they have strict deadlines they have to meet and can't get through some of the application errors or warnings that they get, in Inventor and AutoCAD and in Vault. And so this is one of the most popular options, is having KETIV be an extension of your team, being able to dial a number and have somebody on the phone within the hour or two and have your issues resolved. The second option that we want to cover is the Lifeline Vault Care support. And so this is a tier up or an extension of the basic Lifeline. You still get one-on-one support, you still get application and project support on all of your Autodesk products. But on top of that, what we want to do, the objective of this service is to and help administer your Vault database. And so this includes routine checks, make sure backups are running, check the overall health of the Vault database. We audit users to make sure the compliance obligations are met as far as checking files in and out. And so really it allows us to, again, become an extension of your team and help you really manage some of those assets effectively, and allowing our experts to provide input to not just IT but also to the team of engineers. So that pretty much covers the two items. We welcome you guys to ask any questions in the GoToMeeting chat. Just a really quick summary of the items we covered. So about how to view your available software downloads, recommendations or best practices for installing software without any issues, preparing for a seamless transition when you're using your software or deploying your software, using your software really to your advantage, and best practices there, and the last one we kind of covered briefly was the integration of Vault into your workflow.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
So now we're going to open up to Q&A. Feel free and ask your questions in the GoToMeeting chat. I see that we already have some questions populated, so I'll go ahead and read some of those, and Jose can answer some of those. One of the questions that came in really early during the presentation was, what is the URL for the account portal, for the Autodesk account portal?
So yeah, I meant to talk about that a little bit earlier when we went over the topic, but account portal is the official name given to Autodesk, but a lot of our customers know it as their Autodesk account, basically. The URL that we use here is actually the manage.autodesk.com URL, and that'll actually take you directly to your software. It'll give you the option to go through to your users to assign those named users, and which is usually why we give that URL.
Yeah, and I just typed that into the chat, so if you guys didn't get that, it's also there.
So yeah, manage.autodesk.com. Another question we got here is, which registry key do you need to change for the .NET framework?
So in order to change that registry key, it's actually a long path, but it's once you go into the registry editor, you go into H local machine, down to software, Microsoft, .NET framework, and then you can navigate to the different versions of .NET that you have installed on your computer, I believe. Once you go there, it actually ties into another question that we got in the queue, and it's, do you have to change it to .NET, to the version to 4.5.0.0? And the answer to that was actually given by Nigel in the question queue. But we usually at KETIV go ahead and first write down the original version that you have on there, just to make sure you can have it go back to what it was. We usually write it down. It's usually 4.6.2, I believe. And then we go ahead and change it to 4.5. It doesn't really see those extra zeros afterwards from our experience, and it allows us to install the software fine.
Great.
Yep, and just to add to that real quick, this is Nigel. Sorry you guys can't see me, but I'm sending you all a Autodesk article right now in regards to changing that registry key. There's a couple of other things you can do to fix it as well, but I know that changing registry keys is a little dangerous in the sense where if you do make a huge mistake somewhere, it can kind of nuke the system. And if you're not comfortable with doing something like that for this 4.5, go ahead and give us a call. Our number is here, or also you can send us an email if you are running into these issues when installing, and we'll be more than happy to assist you in regards to switching that key. I'm just typing an article from Autodesk in right now, so you can go ahead and read that. If you feel comfortable doing that, great. If you don't, go ahead and give us a call. We'll be more than happy to help.
Thanks, Nigel. So the other question we have is, where can I find a list of tools that are included in the Autodesk Product Design Suite? We would like to have the differences from Autodesk Product. So yeah, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, Catherine. I'll go ahead and there's actually a website from Autodesk that will compare those.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Which is what I was gonna go. Unfortunately, since the design suites are no longer available for purchase and they're not collections, you won't be able to compare those features anymore. We might have something in the archives.
I personally have something. I knew this was going to be a problem, so I proactively got some information. I'll go ahead and send that to you, Catherine. I have the 2017 differences between the three suites, those three product design suites specifically, and I'll get that sent to you. But it doesn't really change. Usually how I check is via like the install packages, and I go to install the whole thing, and then I can read what's included that way.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest differences is with between Product Design Suite Ultimate and Premium is the version of Inventor being professional in Ultimate and just Inventor in Premium. So I don't know if that's was one of the main reasons you were thinking about the differences, but it usually is one that affects a customer's usage of it.
Yeah, and if you have, this goes for anyone else in addition to Catherine, if you have any questions on, I bought a suite or I bought a collection, I want to know what tools I have and what they do, again, just give us a call. We can give you a quick run through of, what the different tools are, how they integrate to one another and how they communicate. And really we can recommend, based on what you're doing and what industry you're in, which ones will apply and which ones won't, because a lot of times we see that some people will install tools that don't even apply to the designs that they're putting together. So please don't hesitate in reaching out, and just we're always here to answer any questions.
Now, if you did run into any issues that we didn't cover today with installation, activation, anything of the sort, give us a call. We'll definitely help you out, get you back up and running. We also do have more in detail Autodesk Virtual Academy on downloading and activation the desktop application, and how to create a new license file if you do end up moving your server over.
Mm-hmm. And then there's another thing too that I don't know if you want to show real quick here, Jose. Can you show people how to change their UAC to minimum?
Yeah.
So usually when you're installing Autodesk software, you're going to want to have you're going to want to have administrative. Ideally, you want administrative privileges on your computer. If you can't have such things because you're kind of limited by your IT, there's a couple things you can do. On top of getting rid of your antivirus for a short period of time, kind of opening your firewall. There's a third thing called the user access control.
Yep.
That's very important. I don't know if Jose, you want to just bring that up on the screen and show people how to get to that.
Yeah. So actually, I won't exactly be able to show you how to get to there, but if you on your taskbar you have your Windows button or your Start menu. If you open that up and in the search bar start typing UAC, it'll bring up an option under Control Panel that says Change User Account Control Settings. Just go ahead and hit that. It'll actually bring up this window here. It's actually a slider bar which will let you change between Never Notify and Always Notify. It's usually set in between, and the recommended setting that we actually give customers when installing or if they're having issues with the installation is setting it to Never Notify. Now, it is an administrator privilege to change that. So if you do need special permissions, maybe from IT, or in most cases it is the user that can do it, it'll just ask you, double check, do you want to do this, or ask you to type in your password. Just go ahead and change that over, and you'll be able. It should, in some cases, help you with the installation.
Definitely, and from experience, I've seen that in some cases it does require a restart of the machine for that to take effect. So I actually had a tricky one kind of a couple of weeks ago where we just didn't restart the computer and it wouldn't install, and then the next day the computer got restarted and boom, no problem.
And that also holds true for the registry key. When you change it, it usually will tell you it needs to restart in order to take effect. In some cases, you'll be able to install it right off the bat, but like Nigel said, we'll have those cases where a restart of the computer will help you just move along. So if there are any other questions, or if you run into any of them after the webinar, go ahead and send them to us at questions@ketiv.com, or give us a call at the number on your screen, and we'll definitely help you out with those.
Yeah, thank you for joining, and there's going to be a survey again at the end of this session here. Please add your comments, concerns, if you want a certain topic to be covered in the next week's AVA sessions. Please, we take recommendations, and we're pretty much here for you guys. So take advantage of the survey and reach out to us.
Definitely. And one last one came here from Rick. Rick sent us something before the webcast via email. If you have a question, go ahead and send it to us that way too, and we'll be able to answer it. Sorry, Rick, I completely forgot that was there. So Rick has a desktop application that's showing up blank. It's just a big white screen. And the most common reason for this is the desktop application being corrupted, or at least that not the whole application, but the install being corrupted. If you just uninstall it using the Microsoft uninstall tool, it doesn't necessarily get rid of the registry keys, and that's usually what's broken. So I did have an article that I did link. I don't know if you've got it yet, Rick, because I sent it to somebody else so they could send it to you. But yeah, that's there's an Autodesk way to get rid of some of those registry keys, so you can reinstall it and get fresh ones. The other thing is, if you do need updates to your software, obviously the desktop application is there for service packs, for release 2s, things like that of your software. If you don't want to use a desktop application, you can use Google and go to any of the Autodesk websites, and they'll have download links and readmes for all of the service packs and releases in that way. But if you do have an R2 or an R3 of a product where you have to be a subscription customer in order to receive that, you can't just download it from the Autodesk website. You're going to have to log into your account portal and do so, or you're going to have to use your desktop application. If you have any questions on this, go ahead and call us, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions.
Yeah. So
I think that's it for today. If you do have any questions that you think of after this, go ahead and type them in the survey, and we'll get back to you. And next week we're going to have one on an AVA on how to get your products ready for like in a BIM environment, and that's building information modeling. It's kind of an AEC thing. That's how to take your products in Inventor and get those kind of ready for people to take for their building models and things like Revit. And other things. There's also one to do it the other way around, have your model ready for people to bring Inventor stuff into. So we'll definitely be looking for you for that. So keep an eye out for that email and reminder, and we'll see you next week. So with that, I'll leave you with the question, who let the dogs out?